L'Association de l'industrie touristique du Canada travaille fort pour offrir à ses membres et l'industrie les outils et les moyens pour faire croître leurs entreprises. The Tourism Industry Association of Canada is working hard to provide its members and industry with the tools and opportunities they need to grow their businesses. With support from the Government of Canada's Canadian Experiences Fund, TIAC has launched Elevating Canadian Experiences. This program is a series of practical workshops that build capacity and support for tourism businesses in the culinary sector for the shoulder winter seasons and for creating welcoming experiences for LGBT+ visitors. It's all about helping tourism operators attract travelers to new destinations and experiences, and it's one more way that TIAC is working to rebuild our visitor economy. Powered by TIAC, Elevating Canadian Experiences is pleased to present the next session. Propulsé par l'ECE, le programme Enrichir l'expérience canadienne est heureux de présenter la séance suivante.
Welcome to Enriching Visitor Experiences through Food and Drink. My name is Trevor Benson, and I'm the VP of Destination Development at the Culinary Tourism Alliance.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camilo Montoya Guevara, and I am the Research and Evaluation Officer at the Culinary Tourism Alliance.
Our organization was established in 2006 to implement Ontario's 10-year culinary tourism strategy and action plan. In 2011, we incorporated as the Culinary Tourism Alliance to support the growth and development of this now macro niche part of the tourism industry. Our mission is to bridge the gap between the food and drink and tourism industries, and our vision is for culinary tourism to become a meaningful contributor to local economies in destinations worldwide.
Today, we are going to explore how culinary tourism is being used to up-level the visitor experience in Canada and share a perspective on the important role that culinary tourism can play in a post-pandemic era. We're going to start with a reflection on the state of the industry, followed by some examples of culinary tourism development in Canada, and then move on to areas of opportunity and culinary tourism as part of the recovery effort. Please note that our colleague James Arteaga is monitoring the chat for any questions you may have, and we'll have time left at the end of the presentation to address these. After this session, Trevor and I will be zooming over to the Elevating Canadian Experiences booth in the marketplace if you'd like to join us there.
Now, if we had the pleasure of connecting with you in person today, we'd be gathering in Ottawa at the Westin, which is located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. This said, and since we're presenting to you from the clouds, we'd prefer to acknowledge the extraordinary value that Indigenous peoples across Canada, including First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, bring to our tourism industry. Through the combined efforts of several organizations, including but not limited to the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, Indigenous Culinary of Associated Nations, and Indigenous Tourism Ontario, along with countless tourism businesses, we are seeing Indigenous culinary tourism take shape right before our eyes. And we look forward to seeing Indigenous culinary products and experiences elevate the tourism landscape in Canada in the years to come.
Now, we've jumped right into discussing culinary tourism, but it is worth taking a step back and discussing what we mean when we refer to culinary tourism. We define culinary tourism as any tourism experience where a person interacts with food and drink that reflects the history, heritage, and cultures of a place. You may also hear us use the language of foodways, which put simply is the who, what, where, when, why, and how food is produced, prepared, consumed, and shared in a place. The important thing to remember is that culinary tourism is focused on the meaningful connection between food and place, and it bridges the gap between the food and drink and tourism industries. Food and drink products and experiences can be used by a diverse array of tourism businesses to capitalize on the growing popularity of culinary tourism. Visitor experiences are enriched with each layer of value they receive while exploring a destination. This means that food tourism businesses can grow together to deliver multi-sensory, high-quality experiences that exceed the expectations of visitors. We include any tourism business that includes a taste of place or culinary experience as part of their offer in the culinary tourism value chain. Of course, there are tons of businesses within the culinary tourism system, such as food distributors, but since these are not visitor facing, we do not identify them in the culinary tourism value chain.
Now, if we move on to a state of the industry, It goes without saying, but the food and drink and tourism industries are two of the hardest hit by the necessary restrictions and closures related to COVID-19. Globally, the United Nations Tourism Organization projects a 58 to 78% decline in international tourism arrivals across the world for 2020. And this sharp decline translates to severe losses of jobs related to tourism. While a significant number of culinary tourism businesses in Canada have responded to the pandemic with innovative solutions, many more have had to endure harsh realities. As we heard yesterday during the Restaurant Canada sector debrief, the restaurant industry is experiencing the lowest unemployment in 40 years. These sobering statements are echoed by the many studies that have been conducted to better understand the impact of COVID-19 and on the industry. For example, a Canadian Chamber of Commerce study projected that approximately 60% of restaurants could close by the end of the year. The Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada projects a 65% decline in Indigenous tourism revenues across the country, along with nearly 60% drop in unemployment. Although temporary reopenings resulted in some positive gains for Canadian food and drink businesses, the industry is still really suffering, with the two most affected business sectors being accommodation and food services, and arts, entertainment, and recreation. On top of all this, several provinces and territories have domestic travel restrictions in place. So where does this grim picture leave us in regard to culinary tourism development being part of the recovery effort? As it stands, we know that Canadians feel safest traveling closer to home and within their own province or territory. They are also more interested in outdoor-focused destinations and experiences. And since culinary tourism can be enjoyed in a range of places and spaces and across all of the seasons, there's a real opportunity to grow culinary tourism on the home front before targeting international markets. Put differently, in the years to come, there will be an opportunity cost associated with not inviting domestic travelers to explore the breadth and diversity of foodways that make Canada so unique. Coupled with what we are seeing as a shift towards a tourism business model that is more closely connected to local food systems, a focus on local food and drink may also help to build both destination resiliency and regeneration.
Now, as part of the Elevating Canadian Experiences project, we have delivered culinary tourism development workshops across the country, and a total of 199 workshop participants, members of the industry, have completed our pre-workshop questionnaire. Based on average confidence level, there's much potential for culinary tourism development among industry when thinking about what Canada has to offer. There is interest and existing recognition among industry that the diverse regions across Canada, from Kootenay Rockies in British Columbia to Prince Edward Island, among many, many others, all have products, experiences, and stories related to culinary tourism that can be leveraged for post-pandemic recovery. Obviously, planning for this recovery needs to incorporate key health and safety measures for tourism that the current context necessitates. Recognizing that agritourism is a part of culinary tourism and often takes place in the open spaces that Canadians currently are prioritizing during the COVID-19 pandemic, and spaces where you can learn about food production and the people behind the products and processes, there is an opportunity to increase interest and understanding in the potential agritourism development can bring to Canada's culinary tourism offering. All in all, sentiment for culinary tourism development among tourism industry across Canada is positive and can stand to grow through awareness raising, capacity building, and development support and funding.
Now, we'd like to take a moment to recognize only a few of the many culinary tourism developments that have taken place since we last gathered for the TIAC Congress. In no particular order, and aside from maybe being west to east, let's start in the Yukon. Building upon the success of its Culinary Tourism Festival, TIAC Yukon set out to develop a strategy that would advance its culinary tourism positioning while connecting its natural environment with distinct cultural adventures. Of the 6 outcomes this strategy is working towards, we are looking forward to seeing the distribution of travelers to a lesser known as well as less traveled regions of the Yukon through culinary tourism. If we move over to Saskatoon, we can't say enough about the great things Tourism Saskatoon has underway in regards to culinary tourism. Examples include the development of 6 immersive experiences that will connect visitors to the foodways of the destination, and the research and planning for the creation of a social enterprise food tour company operated by the Saskatoon Food Council. Camille and I are currently located in Ontario, and we're excited to be reflecting on what started with the development of an Indigenous culinary tourism strategy for Northern Ontario, which to our knowledge is the first of its kind in the world, and the evolution into a concerted effort by Indigenous Tourism Ontario and partners to make Indigenous foods and culinary experiences a core part of every visitor experience in Ontario. Congrats again to Indigenous Tourism Ontario and Destination Northern Ontario on being awarded the Culinary Tourism Leadership Award at this year's Ontario Tourism Summit.
Now, if we look at Quebec, it is a province that boasts a range of established culinary tourism destinations, from Quebec City and Montreal, topping the best of lists, to the range of food artisans, trails, and products across the province. Culinary tourism development in Quebec benefits from the range of invested industry associations working to support culinary tourism. These include the Alliance de l'Industrie Touristique du Québec, Terroir et Saveurs, and the Réseau des Économusées, as well as Tourisme Autochtone Québec and the range of regional tourism organizations that power a regional approach to culinary tourism development. And if we look at New Brunswick, in late 2019, so last year, Tourisme de la Péninsule Acadienne completed work on the research and planning for a food trail connecting businesses from across the Acadian Peninsula. This food trail aims to showcase Acadian food items from morue salé to fricot au poulet. Of course, this year, 2020, was not the year to develop and implement such a trail, but we were thrilled to hear that the plan is being implemented in 2021.
At the start of 2020, we conducted a jurisdictional scan for culinary tourism developments in each province and territory. The aim of this research was to identify common challenges, needs, priorities, and opportunities in relation to culinary tourism development. Overall, we found that culinary tourism development is being prioritized by destination marketing and management organizations in about 1/3 of Canada's provinces and territories. We interpret this as tremendous untapped potential for destinations interested in capitalizing on their unique foodways and diverse culinary experiences. We also found that landscapes and natural beauty, outdoor experiences, and cultural and multicultural histories and contexts were the most drawn upon USPs by destinations across the country. Considering that foodways are so intrinsically connected to these attributes, we recommend that businesses and destination developers explore how best to connect their value propositions to food.
Now, more specifically, we identified the following 5 areas of opportunity. The first area of opportunity exists in diversifying the use of agricultural land through tourism-related activities that are focused on food-producing people, places, and processes. The second area is appealing to visitors who are seeking a rich experience by integrating foodways into existing value propositions. The third area of opportunity is elevating visitor experiences through meaningful and memorable interactions with food and drink, aiming to make for multi-sensory experiences. The fourth area is co-creating value and collaboratively harnessing the growth potential of culinary tourism, specifically through partnerships. And the fifth and final area is adding value at every stage of the visitor experience, using culinary tourism experiences as a medium through which to transfer significant value and values to customers.
Now, if we move on to the recovery effort, it's safe to say that craft beer can only get us through so much, and it will still be there in the post-pandemic. So at this time, we would like to underline the importance of working together through culinary tourism as part of the recovery effort. By way of 2 examples, we posit that the tourism sector is stronger together. With support from the federal government, all provincial and territorial industry associations, and countless regional partners, the Tourism Industry Association of Canada is leading a collaborative effort to support recovery through an industry capacity building program entitled Elevating Canadian Experiences. Through the culinary tourism stream of this program, which we are thrilled to be delivering, local tourism businesses across the country are invited to participate in a series of thematic workshops that are focused on the areas of opportunity that Camilo just shared. In addition, 4 select destinations, along with their tourism stakeholders, are participating in the piloting of a culinary tourism strategy development process that will inform the creation of national guidelines for culinary tourism development in the years to come. For more information, we encourage you to check out elevatingcanadianexperiences.ca.
And on that note, you can also visit the Elevating Canadian Experiences booth in the marketplace. Now, another example of a collaborative program working for culinary tourism development is the Great Taste of Ontario. This is a provincial recovery program involving more than 80 partners. These include destination marketing organizations, the regional tourism organizations, sector organizations, media, and charities. And it's an example of working together toward recovery. The program is designed to push Ontarians to rediscover the province and boost regional economies by increasing tourism visits. Its success is dependent on the unique mix of destination, development, market readiness training, procurement tracking, and strategic marketing partnerships. Additionally, the program uses Banwango to create regional passports and capture road tripper data in market. There is also a gamification component to the program. Road trippers will be able to claim points gathered from check-ins at the select businesses on the passports and then redeem them for prizes.
If we continue to think about the years ahead, in the short to medium term, we recognize that tourism will look different, and this will be manifest in the way that food and drink is enjoyed by all. However, there are steps that we can take towards making a difference during the recovery period. We can focus on the foodways of our areas when developing new products and experience. We can shorten our supply chains to maximize the economic impact of our expenditures. We can endeavor to make all tourism experiences multisensory. And we don't need to be shy about celebrating the breadth and diversity of the food and drink that makes our businesses and our destinations so unique and special. Of course, we don't need to wait until the new year to take action. Actions that you can take today, tonight, tomorrow, and in the weeks to come are many. Support your local producers and artisans. With the upcoming holiday season, this is a prime time to shop and share local. Tonight or tomorrow, order lunch or dinner from a local restaurant. Head to your local farmers market one last time for the season. Sign up for an online food-based experience. Stay safe, support your neighbors, and give to food drives or other food security initiatives.
Now, we've covered quite a lot of content with you. And although we're still very much in the midst of the pandemic, it's important to look ahead, knowing that this moment will pass. Now, current tourism opportunities will focus on regional and domestic travel, and culinary tourism can be used to highlight the products, places, processes, and peoples that make each destination within Canada unique. Culinary tourism development for a post-pandemic era should also look to the areas of opportunity presented as part of this presentation and shift towards a tourism business model that is more closely connected to local food systems. Now, on behalf of the Culinary Tourism Alliance, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. And as a friendly reminder, Trevor and I are heading over to the Elevating Canadian Experiences booth in the marketplace after our session time, but we'll take some time for questions right now.
So I've been monitoring the chat. We don't have any questions so far, but we did get a comment here from Kate Potter saying such a wonderful idea, not only supporting outdoor tourism operators, restaurants, food producers, and service providers under the theme of culinary tourism. And we also got a comment here from Veronica Samek about our market is open until December, but there are great tips that we see shared, a lot of social media by small businesses, local growers, and supporters. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. And we have a few moments here. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in your chat. we'll definitely pick them up. Certainly the comments that were made really resonate with us. We see culinary tourism as simply a conduit through which to explore and experience culture, and a part of every tourism experience in the future.
So we got a couple questions right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there somewhere to get a list of all the culinary tourism across Canada?
It's a great question. We did the math a couple of years ago, and what we consider as being a culinary tourism asset or stakeholder would be within those 10 categories Camilo mentioned. So based on the math, the short answer is there's no comprehensive inventory of culinary tourism assets and experiences. But there'd be an extraordinary amount of time that would be required to kind of itemize these. They exist right now at the regional level and destination level, and certainly a part of strategy development oftentimes involves inventorying these and creating databases related to them.
I will add that a good place to look to just for the range of existing experiences is Destination Canada's Signature Experience Program, which has a category for food-based experiences. So that's a nice place to start in terms of seeing what is being celebrated at the national level. And I can't go on without saying that many of the destinations and provinces within Canada have their own signature experience programs. So it's good to look to your regional one as well.
We have another question here from Angela Case from Glowhaven Community Hub. She's saying hello from Vernon, BC. And her question is, are there any specific links to funding that may be available to promote culinary tourism or agritourism in BC that can be accessed through individual businesses rather than channeled through DMO levels?
It's a great question, and thank you. Certainly, the program that we mentioned in Elevating Canadian Experiences is streamed through federal dollars at the Regional Development Agency level. I know certainly some provincial and territorial associations and governments are continuing to fund developments kind of within the multi-sensory experience side of things. So this would fall into the culinary tourism and agritourism spectrum. And encourage you in BC to connect with your local industry association as well as DMO to get a confirmation of those specific kind of substreams or grant opportunities.
Another question we have here from Kate Potter, who represents the 18 UNESCO biosphere regions. Her question is it better to combine lots of culinary experiences together, like by region or by individual experience?
Hi, Kate. Happy to have you on. And great question. I think it depends on the needs of those who are operating those experiences. Certainly, there's a case to be made for clustering and kind of creating economies of scale for the visitor in efficiencies, and that can certainly help to increase economic impact, or alternatively to do the more theme-based approach if there are ingredients and experiences that resonate with multiple stakeholders.
And I think for both of them, partnership is key. So whichever approach you take, they're both opportunities for partnership, and that is one of the identified areas of opportunity for culinary tourism development in Canada. So just to highlight that as well.
We have another question here from Hugh McKenzie from Kingston Destination Group. So any projections on what culinary margins will look like going forward? So what price sensitivity of consumers and prospects for raising prices?
At this point, I feel it would be speculative. I think it's a great question. Certainly, we know that when you add intangible value through including such things as cultural heritage, identifiers, and information about foodways, you can increase your margins through your products and your experiences. So the more information, the higher the margins. And we're anticipating a higher interest in local food domestically and then internationally in the years to come.
And I did receive a question from Lynn just asking if the Great Taste of Ontario Road Trip program is in Guelph. I'll refer you to the website, which is ontarioculinary.com/greattaste. And you can see all of the participating partners listed on the passport, as well as the destinations that are members of Ontario Culinary.
We have another question here from Christine Sorley from Algonquin College. So she says that the area that she lives in has had a full year of outdoor street events, so Maple Fest, Apple Fest, to name a few. How do you see these types of events in the future?
Great question. I think to our point earlier, we see an interest in outdoor experiences and spaces, certainly being on the rise, and this will continue so in the post-pandemic era. We don't see, so long as there's space and respect to the rules and regulations that exist at the time, we don't see these being inhibited by the recovery effort. And unless we're thinking about critical mass of individuals closely together, we're hopeful that such festivals and events in a broader area and with limited numbers will be able to take place in 2021. That being said, I think we don't have any more time for questions, but certainly would love to connect with you at the Elevating Canadian Experiences booth in the marketplace. And really appreciate you tuning into this particular session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us for this TIAC talk. The team at TIAC has worked hard to create a program that delivers ideas, solutions, and tools that help you navigate the pandemic and the road to recovery. At TIAC, the focus is on ensuring that there is a vibrant and successful visitor economy post-COVID-19, and we can't do it without you. Please visit TIAC's virtual booth to become a member and support their efforts.